Assalamu alaikum, dear students. Yesterday we learned about some of the air pollutants and their sources, and we discussed about mold. Now, yes, mold, I think most of us were not aware of it, that mold can cause havoc in our lives, and it has tiny particles called spores, which are so dangerous and they are present all around us, like now at the moment where you are sitting, there may be thousands of spores which we are inhaling, so they are so dangerous. Now let's see what are the health problems which can be caused by the contact, if you are contacted with the mold. Now, in order to reproduce, mold produces tiny particles called spores. Now these spores are carried in the air and may cause health problems. Now, if you inhale these spores, so what happens that your nose can be blocked. You can have irritation in your eyes. You can have irritated skin. You can grow if these spores enters into your skin, they can start reproducing on your skin, and you can have a severe fungal infection, and you can also develop asthma. Or you cannot develop asthma, but if you have already asthma, it can be worsened because of the spores of mold. And occasionally people may have more severe reactions. Very rarely people may develop a mold infection, usually in the lungs. It is important to note that most people will not experience any health problems from coming in contact with the mold. Like, for example, we all have experienced this that sometimes the bread has mold or fungal growth on the bread. Now if you contact it, if you touch it, you will not develop the mold, but these molds, if they start producing spores and these spores comes into the air, these spores, if you inhale these spores, then that's a problem. If you these spores, if they start growing on your skin, then it creates a problem. Otherwise, if you just touch a fungal growth, fungal, like where the fungus has already grown, it will not be a problem. Like, touching is not a problem, but inhaling those spores, the spores produced by the fungus, that can create a problem. Now, for people with asthma, inhaling mold spores may cause an severe asthmatic attack. And who is at greatest risk of health if they get contacted with the mold? People with asthma, allergies, breathing conditions, and those who are cancer patients and taking chemotherapy, they are at high risk of developing severe kind of problem. Even it can take their life also if they inhale these spores. How can I prevent mold from growing in my home? Now, this is a $1,000,000 question, because we all are the leaders, especially the women. We all are leader of our houses, yeah, and we have to take very good care of our home environment. We must be aware that how important it is to keep our home clean from these mold spores. So we have to initiate kind of cleaning campaign in order to remove all the spores from our home. That's what I do. I try to do in my home. And now you all are aware about the severity of spores of the mold. So I think that you also will initiate a cleaning, or some kind of remedy to remove all the spores from your home. Now, what can you do? Now, first of all, we have to see the root cause. Like, root cause is whenever there is a damp surface, a moist surface, these spores or these molds can start growing there. For example, if water is spilled on the carpet and you have not dried that carpet, now this is an ideal place for the mold to start grow. And once the mold grow there, it will reproduce by producing the spores. Now these spores will come into your environment. So what you have to do, you have to keep everything dry. Try to keep everything dry. If water is spilled on the sofa or the carpet, or if sometimes if you have taken bath, steam water bath, so what happens, the moisture comes or stays on the walls of the washroom, and now this becomes an ideal place for the growth of the mold. So what you have to do, you have to use a proper exhaust fan. There should be a proper drying thing for the walls, so that they become dry, the walls becomes dry, and the mold cannot grow there. So maintaining proper ventilation, like turn on exhaust fans, particularly when bathing, showering, cooking, doing laundry and drying clothes. Like in kitchen also, there is some steam work. If you are boiling the water for boiling water for cooking, and this moisture also stays on the wall, and sometimes mold start growing on the walls of the kitchen also. So there should be a proper ventilation, and exhaust fans should be used in the kitchens and in washrooms also. And open windows when weather permits. Like weather permits means if it's if sandstorm or dust storm is predicted, don't open the windows that time. But early in the morning when the fresh air is coming, you can open the windows for like 1 hour, so that you can have fresh air and proper ventilation in your home. Now reduce humidity. Limit the use of humidifiers. Like some people, they use humidifier during when the temperature is very dry. You must have seen this machine with thin mist of water coming, it keeps the room moist, but over moisturizing your rooms can also create problem, as mold will start growing there. And limit the number of fish tanks and indoor plants. Limit use of unflued gas heaters. Like unflued means like without proper ventilation or without exhaust fans. So you have to limit these things. And as I told you, you have to control the moisture and dampness. And what can you do if your home is already prone to these molds? Now this is what I did, and I experienced this mold growth in my washrooms. So what I did is I took vinegar, 4 parts of vinegar and 1 part of water. I kept it in a sprayer bottle, and what you have to do, you just need to spray on the walls or on the surface wherever the molds grow, and then just let it be there for like 5-10 minutes. And after that, brush it, scrub it with the brush, and wash it, and all the molds will go. But in order to do that, you need proper dressing. Like your face should be covered properly, your hands, you must be having gloves, proper gloves should be there, and then you can clean the mold from your house. And that's all, I think. And I have a video regarding this. You can just go through this video and let's see what this guy has done to remove the mold. This is the mold.
Well, what would it do on the mold and mildew? So I sprayed it on one of the bricks, and 2 days later, about 90% of the mold and mildew was gone. So, was it a fluke? I don't know, but I'm going to test it out. I'm going to spray down this whole wall. I'm going to give you some before and after shots so you can see what it looks like. Now, today's Wednesday. I applied the vinegar on Sunday, so in a little over 3 days, I'm going to show you the difference between 3 days and using just vinegar. Keep in mind that on Tuesday, we got quite a bit of rain, so I thought that might affect the dilution of the vinegar. But we still got a big difference, and I'm going to show you what that looks like now.
Wow, you can see all mold is gone. You can try this if you have any mold in your house.
So that's pretty impressive for just using a bottle of cheap vinegar and no scrubbing whatsoever. I think what I'm going to do now is use the remainder of the vinegar and give it another coat. And we'll come back in a couple days, and then I'll show you what that looks like. Today is Saturday. After a second treatment with the vinegar, all of the green is gone. There's no mold, no mildew, no algae, whatever that stuff is, it's gone. So why would you spend 25 bucks on wet and forget? I have no idea. You could probably also use some bleach, but that's a little dangerous. It's got some chemicals that aren't good for animals. If you splash it on your clothing, you're going to have white polka dots. So if you've got this problem, just spray or brush on some vinegar, wet, and forget about it.
Okay, students, so I will also recommend vinegar because it is more better, as like if you use bleach, bleach can cause air pollution also, and it is not good for your health. It can choke your throat also. So try a vinegar, dilute it and try it on your walls, and do tell me if you are successful in removing the molds from your house. I hope this lecture is quite useful for you, and please give your feedback on this. Thank you very much for your kind attention. See you again. Bye.